Ready to get started?
Yeah.
All right, welcome back to Just Drinking Problems, our second episode. I got the lovely Miss Anna with me again, and we are going to start off talking about should teachers be armed? Should teachers be allowed to carry guns at school? So kind of controversial. There's been a lot of school shootings in recent years. I even had one, just a handful of weeks ago in Nashville, Tennessee. And I thought this was a pretty cool topic to discuss. So we're starting off with this poll from, again, isidewith.com. We don't know how accurate it is or whatever, but it's definitely a good conversational starter. So we have 33% yeses. That's over 824,000 votes for yes. And then 67% said no. That's over 1,658,000. So I can already tell you, I'm against the majority here again on this site. So I'm thinking that isidewith.com somehow has a lot more left-leaning people, just from what I've seen. So
it kind of brings me back to the point that I mentioned last time. Like, do you actually go and vote on polls when people send you polls? You don't give a crap about that.
I've never done that.
Exactly.
But I do like this site because it has a lot of good topics, and I think just having something to jump off our conversation with, and I mean, unless they totally made this up, right? Oh look, it just added another vote to no. Whoever that was, fuck you. You know what I didn't do this time? I didn't do our cuss timer. So whatever, we're already guaranteed to get demonetized because clearly we're talking about political shit and not agreeing with the majority of or at least the left side of voters. All right, so with yeses, where I want to start off with, either get yes, 27%. That's the majority of our 33% of yeses. And there's a 6% that says yes, schools should require at least one teacher or security guard to be armed. Okay, so you know that I can ramble about this, but I just want to, off the gate, I want to get your opinion on it. What do you think? Without me saying anything.
So, I am all for arming teachers as long as they are trained and required to do at least 6 months or a year, like annual training. One, because, you don't use it, you lose it kind of thing. But two, so they're comfortable in the event. And I mean, like the training where you got the bad guy holding a hostage and like, and I know that's not realistic, but like actually go through,
why not,
like drills and all those kind of things to make sure that they are good under pressure. Because the last thing you want is someone shooting a gun at your child's classroom or whatnot who's just gonna and close their eye and try to freaking shoot.
Yeah, react out of fear instead of out of training. I totally agree with that. And I think that's the biggest part to gun training, whether you ask military guys or police or concealed carry classes. Like, anybody who knows anything about shooting guns knows that you train to create muscle memory, because when that time comes, when your life's on the line or someone else's on the line, or you're in a public setting, you're not just at the range or wherever you normally would feel safe and comfortable and relaxed shooting a firearm, all that mentality goes out the window. Like, you're not thinking about stuff, like your small motor skills go away. Your adrenaline's going to be pumping. You're going to have probably the scariest moment in your life ever, and things that you would think that you would want to do, you're just not going to be thinking in that same mind frame. That's why you train to create muscle memory, so you just do things subconsciously without thinking about it, whether it's how you draw or taking the safety off or how you grip the gun or how you aim or anything like that, because all of that takes seconds and could be the difference between you getting a shot off or you placing an accurate shot before you get shot. And especially in a school, to where even if you shoot the bad guy and you stop the active shooter in your school, if that bullet even misses by a little bit or travels through your intended target and hits a child, are you really a hero after that? Because technically you shot a kid, not the active shooter, not the psycho that ran in and tried to shoot innocent people in a gun-free zone. You know what I mean? So I think training is absolutely the most important thing.
Yeah.
So if we're going to say yes, teachers should, be allowed to, I would say, hell yeah, I agree with that. Because there's a lot of teachers that maybe already train and own firearms. Maybe they are teachers now, but before they had maybe military experience, or maybe their husbands are cops and they shoot together. Maybe they're hunters. You never know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's people that are absolutely capable, but aren't capable of being armed in a school setting or property because they're gun-free zones, which is exactly why I think it's popular for coward criminals to go in there and start shooting people because they know they're going to be the only ones with guns.
Yeah, it would. I think it would definitely deter more school shootings to know that you're gonna get hit head on with firepower the same way you walk in there with it, kind of thing. Even if no one fires a shot, like I think it would deter even the insane or out of their mind, crazy people that even think about shooting up a school. Obviously, they're not sane if they're going to go into school and shoot things.
Yeah, absolutely. People. If you're just going to go shoot children and unarmed people, you're definitely not what I would consider sane.
Correct.
But you're also not stupid. Because how many times have you heard about active shooters walking into police stations and doing that kind of shit? Fucking never.
That's exactly the point. It's going to deter people with guns to know that there are guns sitting in there waiting.
Yeah, no one ever walks into a police station and starts shooting cops. Maybe you do a drive-by and shoot the building or something if you're like just like gangbanging and hardcore and you're angry at the cops or something. But you would never walk into a building where there's way more people that are trained with guns that are going to instantly freaking murk you. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's people that want and try for whatever various reason to do suicide by cop because they want to get shot, right? And that's a problem, a different topic. But the reason I called them coward criminals is because they purposely walk into gun-free zones, and the fact that they know they're gun-free zones means they're the only ones with guns. They have all the power and control of life and death. But if they knew, like it was publicized, it was a known thing that it was legal, and that school teachers were allowed to be armed, you don't know if no school teachers have guns. It's just, they could because it's legal, but you don't know if any of them actually chose to make that decision. You don't know if all of them have guns. You don't know that they're actually concealed carrying.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if maybe half of them, one of them. You have no idea, but you know for a fact when you walk in that building and you come walk on that property, you're not the only one with a gun, right? So I think by making schools gun-free zones, you are literally placing a huge target on the back of all of our children. And these criminals, well, I say they're not stupid because they're not going to police stations or places with a bunch of guns. They're going to gun-free zones. Clearly, I know that I want to be the one with all the power, but they're also cowards, and that's why they go there. Because for some reason, whatever it is, and we could talk about that too, but whatever is the motivator for people to go into schools and shoot children, they're cowards. That's why they go there, because they're the only ones with the power of life and death, regardless of their motivator. So I think, hell yeah, we should allow our teachers, because a lot of people like to look at teachers like, oh, they're kind, they're gentle, they're patient. Well, they're also fucking adults, right? And they also really care about their own lives and their students' lives. They're probably parents as well. And they didn't choose a career in child education. I mean, child as in from pre-K all the way to 12th grade. Like, those are children to me. And they didn't choose that because they hate children, right? And I absolutely don't think there's a teacher in existence that would want, or there's nobody sane that would want a child to be gunned down at school, right? Hopefully the worst thing they have to worry about is maybe the fire alarm goes off, and that should be the most fear you ever experience in your school.
Yeah.
At least when I was in school, when we were in school, that was like the only thing we really worried about. Now, the generations prior, they were worried about, Cold War type shit, Russia dropping nukes and doing nuclear drills, hiding under their desk and shit. we every so often would have a fire drill, but now kids literally live in a world where their schools, for their protection, go through active shooter drills or give out information about it or have some type of plan that they have to tell these children, like, hey, if someone comes in here with a gun, this would happen. Dude, that never happened when we were kids.
No, I was literally just thinking that. I mean, even because we were in school when Columbine happened, and it still wasn't a thing at that point either. Even after that, like I can't name one time there was ever an active shooter drill that I can recall. Now my memory's freaking terrible.
Never.
But
I was never part of any type of organization that we even talked about active shooters until I was in the military, because they had, a few active shooters on military bases. And again, that's just dumbassery. That's a bunch of adults who are in the business of killing the enemies of our country with guns and other weapons, and yet we don't allow them to walk around armed. So we basically create a gun-free zone, just like a school. But regardless, another topic for that. Yes, I agree that teachers should be allowed to be armed if there's parameters.
Yeah.
And before I say mine, what do you think those ifs should be? If you believe there should just any teacher that works at a school, I'll bring whatever gun I want.
No.
Okay. Then what is your ifs?
So one would be proper training.
What is that?
So, like I talked about, actually knowing how to work a gun, what happens when it jams, going through the drills, like creating that muscle memory, like you said. And they should be required to do it at least every year. I would say every 6 months they need to have, go and walk through the motions, on top of like actual checkoffs. I mean, like where someone's watching them and making sure that, they're hitting the right targets and they know they're being safe with their weapon. They're not pointing it at people whenever they're, taking it out of a hole, like
proper firearm safety.
Yes, thank you.
And some kind of organized system that they get certified.
Yes.
Right? So it's not just like, hey, you're a teacher, you can bring us a gun.
Correct.
Okay, I agree.
And so let's say they have to do that every 6 months. Okay. I think it should be carried on their person, whether concealed or not concealed at all times. So they're aware that they have a firearm. It's not in the classroom. It's not locked up or, some crazy kid or even another adult, can take
have access to it.
Correct. So remove access points for, children and other adults.
So they keep it on their body.
On their body. Concealed or unconcealed, I don't care.
That's smart.
But you're not gonna, you're not always gonna be wherever that gun is being held or locked up or quote safe.
Yeah, you could be at recess, you could be at the cafeteria, you could be in the carpool lane, you never know.
Yeah.
You could be in the bathroom.
Right. So they should be required to carry it on their person in some type of holster that, isn't just like a clip where you can grab it from anywhere, because if you're walking through the hallways and somebody bumps into you and, you're not, it's just there, they can easily grab it and I'm sure go off or shoot another kid, even if they were just trying to be funny and say, look, I got her gun, something stupid like that.
Yeah, who knows the possibilities, but basically what I think you're saying is certified training and certified equipment, as in holsters, from certified gun experts.
Yeah.
Okay, completely agree. And my stance on it, as far as that goes, is not completely my idea. I actually heard this from somebody else, but the U.S. Marshals are air marshals, more so. Air marshals that fly on airplanes. So like if me and you got a ticket and we're going to the Bahamas, or at least in the US, let's say we're flying to Vegas. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows if there is an armed agent on our flight or not. Yeah. But there definitely could be, and if there was, we wouldn't know it because they're concealing their firearm. They've had the highest level of training, because if you're on a plane, there's a lot of other people in a compact small tube that's pressurized. You don't want to just like, oh, okay, I need to use deadly force in a situation, but poke a hole in the side of that plane and depressurize it at 35,000 feet, or it ricochet or go through somebody else's body. Like, there's a lot of things to consider before you pull that trigger. And I think it's just as vital to have that mindset before pulling that trigger in a school. So if we said, yes, teachers can be armed at school, but they get training from air marshals. So whatever school or program or course that air marshals use to get certified, let's put our teachers through it. Now, it's not going to be easy, but I also think we should give them like an extra few dollars an hour, because they're not just educating our children, they're also protecting them at a much higher level than the teachers who aren't armed.
Yeah.
And hopefully they never need to use their gun, but they're actively creating a deterrent for coward criminals.
Yeah.
And I think that is perfectly the key to stopping school shootings, or one of them, because I also think there's a second way to do it, and that's having school resource officers. So there's, in some places actually do this, either they're sheriff's deputies or city cops.
So that's here. Professionally trained security guards, essentially, instead.
Okay, yeah, good point. So I would go with the yes, and then if they get this training with this holster, we allow these guns and these calibers, and like there's like a system to it. Okay, that's common sense, not the same common sense that makes schools gun-free zones, but actual common sense, if that exists.
It's questionable today's day and age.
True, but I actually agree with this 14% that says no on the teachers, hire professionally trained security guards instead.
So wait, hold on. What is 33 plus 14 and 67 minus 14?
You really gonna throw numbers at me?
Well, no, I'm curious because that's where you lie.
Well, if you just subtract the 14% from the 67, that's what?
44?
Yeah.
No, 43. 4, 5, 6, 7, 43.
Yeah, so subtract the 10, that's 57, subtract
53.
the 4, that's...
It's 53.
It's 43.
No, this is 53.
We are seriously embarrassing ourselves right now.
53.
Okay.
And this is 47. You're right.
Regardless, I don't care about that.
But it makes a big difference when you look at the numbers like that, though.
But the question was teachers armed.
Okay.
You say no for the teachers, but hire professionally trained security guards instead. I think that is definitely better than having nobody armed in the school. But I would say both. Teachers that want to and pass the training should get a little bump in pay. And you never know how many teachers in that school are armed. If we hire professional guards, whether they're off duty or they'd still be on duty, but sheriff's deputies or city cops or what have you, that choose to be school resource officers, most likely there's only going to be one. And maybe you can write a law saying this is acceptable, and you have one resource officer per 1,000 kids. So maybe you have a really huge school in a really urban area that have more than 1,000 kids. You require 2, like on premise anytime there's students at the school. There's a bunch of different ways you can do it, but I would say both. Let's have at least one guard that literally is just there for security and safety, and that's active shooter, that's fire drills, that's kids getting in fights, whatever. Anywhere we want the rule of law to be enforced, have an actual commissioned officer there that's armed.
Yeah.
But also our teachers. So if there was a psycho out there, be like, I'm going to attack that school. Well, you don't know how many people you're up against. You're definitely, there's at least one person there that will definitely shoot your ass in the face.
Who's the first person they're going to go for? Person with a gun, especially if they know there's only one. That's why this doesn't make sense. Because
I say both.
One, you go and visit the school for any reason, you're going to be able to know how, like, one, where they post up at what time, when they do their rounds, because I'm sure they're going to have them like in and outside the school. They're not going to be sitting inside behind a desk doing
There may be
nothing.
students there and they, at that school every day, and they know exactly where that dude hangs out.
Exactly.
When he takes his smoke breaks, when he goes, takes a shit or eats lunch, or, when he comes and goes, what he drives, everything.
Right. Like you're going to rob a bank, first person you're going to get is a security guard.
Absolutely.
Same thing at a school.
Yep. Well, that person probably understands that when he takes that job. If you had both, then you don't know how many people are going to be armed against you. And I think that is the absolute best way to go about stopping school shootings and protecting our children across the nation.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm really glad we agree on that, because I've thought about this a couple of times, and there's no better way to do it that wouldn't create what people that are against armed adults in schools, like, we don't want our kids to be like a prison. We literally have no additional infrastructure we need to add to this building, right? Well, there's no reason to have metal detectors or multiple people that are required to pat down or inspect backpacks or do anything at the entrance of the school, because kids should be allowed to come and go at recess or sports events or anything. Just make it known that there's responsible and caring adults that are there and are ready at all times, that students are on the premises ready to use deadly force to protect the children.
Yeah.
That would stop.
I would send my kid to that school in a heartbeat.
Hell yeah. I would donate money, I'd volunteer, I'd everything.
Right.
I would support the whole organization that's educating and protecting my child. Way more than, at least in their awake hours, than they're at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, sure, Saturday and Sunday, they spend all day with me, but majority of the week, they're going to be in that school. I don't want to send it somewhere that is afraid of guns or looks at them like, well, guns are evil. Because I think the whole idea behind this fear of firearms, and AR-15 takes a lot of slack, the terminology of semi-automatic takes a lot of slack. Like, a lot of anti-gunners say words like that, but I really don't think they understand what the hell they're talking about. Because, and the worst part is, if you look it up, or any topic related to mass shootings or school shootings or gun control or anything, they all like to use the word gun violence. And I really don't know what the fuck that is. Can you tell me what gun violence is?
The way I think of it, or the way it's actually classified?
What is gun violence? That question.
I mean, I would define gun violence as a person. It's not the gun's fault. There's a person that has to be wielding it, that is using a gun to cause chaos, panic, and death in the home, the work, the school, the whatever. Like, they're doing it for that purpose. Like, that's gun violence.
Okay. That is a very good explanation of that terminology. But it's also kind of ridiculous. The whole idea, the two words gun violence, because I don't believe there's a such thing. I don't believe a gun has ever hurt or killed anyone. I don't think
I prefaced that statement.
You did, and you did well. Clearly, I couldn't get you on that. Because I know that if I had a loaded gun and I put it down right here, there'd be one in the chamber, safety off. It's ready to pick up and fire. And I left it right there.
It ain't gonna fire.
And I never touched it. And no one else ever touched it. That thing would turn to rust and rot away. Right there, without ever hurting anyone. And what's the difference between if I went to a school with a freaking samurai sword, or a baseball bat, or a bomb, right? It's all just violence. Gun's just a tool you use. I can go kill people with a number 2 pencil. If I go run into a school right now, I guarantee you I could take out 12-year-olds with a number 2 pencil of stabbing them in the eye. Probably a lot more. Would that be pencil violence? That's ridiculous, right? So the whole idea behind gun violence is just like fear mongering, right? We hate the guns. They look scary. They make loud noises. They shoot projectiles at the speed of sound. Blah blah blah. It's just kind of dumb. There's violence, human violence, because a gun is an inanimate object, can't do shit by itself.
Yep.
Humans possess the power to kill. They possess evil. And if you're going to kill children, you're fucking evil.
Agreed.
So, obviously, I can get kind of emotional about this kind of stuff. I tend to enjoy my Second Amendment rights and hate when stupidity threatens it.
Span the room.
Don't say don't say things like that.
No.
So clearly, to stop human violence, you need humans. And as go back to the whole saying, like, to stop a bad guy with a gun, you need a good guy with a gun. You need an equalizer. So whatever deadly force is brought into a situation, you need to equal or surpass that deadly force in order to protect unarmed, innocent humans, children.
It's a very good explanation, because
thanks.
You know what that reminds me of, though, right? What did we do in World War II?
A lot of badass American shit. What do you mean?
Right. So they came and bombed Pearl Harbor, and we dropped a freaking nuclear bomb.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. Like, that was it. That's exactly, literally, and I mean, obviously in much larger terms, but that's exactly what we did. What the United States government and armed forces did.
Yeah, well at first we tried to stay neutral. We definitely knew what was going on, and you know, we were allies or had sympathy for some of the countries that Germany was just rolling over. Like, that Blitzkrieg was badass, man, and nobody ever seen anything like that in the history of warfare before. I mean, going back to all the way to Genghis Khan, no one was able to just roll over nations like that, or total whole groups of people, and they looked like it was children fighting against adults. The way they just whooped ass, it was incredible. That was scary as hell. And we tried to stay neutral and kind of doing, like, I guess you could say now, just supporting with weapons and money, what we're doing with Ukraine, you know. But as soon as Japan came and stirred the hornet's nest, like, the American people got pissed, and we were all down for supporting the war effort after that. And luckily, and a lot of things go into that, as far as our labor force, our amount of military age healthy men, our manufacturing capacity, our raw resources. Like, there's a lot of shit that went into that. But basically, who knows the way the World War II would have went if Japan wouldn't have came and poked the bear, right? Mm-hmm. And which is another reason why I really, really, really hate when people are anti-Second Amendment, because while geographically the United States is probably in the best place that a country could be in, out of all the countries in the world. Like, we got Canada, you know, we don't have to worry about them, you know. And Mexico, we don't really have to worry about them. Actually, the cartels are scarier than the Mexican military. But after that, we got oceans, right? So you're gonna have to try and take some kind of air or naval assault, and those oceans are so freaking big that you can't just sneak up on us. You know what I mean? So we don't really have to worry too much about an invasion just because of our geographical location. But let's just say it happened. If someone invaded the United States, they better do it in California. You know what I mean? Or Oregon. But if you do it in the Gulf of Mexico or on the East Coast, you're going to have not just our military might, and between the Marines and Coast Guard and Navy and Army, like, that's going to be a significant fight for anyone who comes close to a world power to go to war with the American war machine at any point in time, even if we're not ramped up, even if we're not involved in external things. Like, we just possess so much fucking military might because we've just been dumping money into it for decades and decades. Screw all that. You're going to fight.
They wouldn't make it past the rednecks.
Exactly. You're going to fight every single household of true red-blooded Americans. I mean, even if you're in places like New York, like they're super anti-gun. Like if you go in Delaware, New Jersey, like anywhere you think there's just super anti-gun, like left-leaning Democratic majority states and regions, there's still a lot of people who are gun owners, and you think for a second they're not going to load up, get ready, strapped to the freaking whatever calls they think they need to meet, armed to the teeth to defend themselves, their homes, their property, their family? Absolutely. You're not just fighting the United States military, you're fighting the entire United States, because a lot of people that think that we should just hug trees and turn the other cheek, they're going to turn into killers real quick.
Oh, yeah.
When there's a foreign enemy on our soil.
It's sad, though, that that's what it takes for the tree huggers and the leftists and all to actually agree with and or do anything about, whether it's gun violence or, take 9/11, for example. That's what it took to unite the United States and for everybody to agree that, yeah, maybe we should take action and do something.
Yeah.
People have to die for half of the freaking country to, agree or be a part of something bigger than their own agenda and idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're still going to have like dumbasses, because even right after 9/11, you would think any real American, any sane, and any person capable of thinking would kind of come together after a hit on us that hard. But there are still people that were stealing American flags off of people's cars and front porches and just being pieces of shit. And I guess that's the price of prosperity. But for the most part, I don't think there's a military force or even a coalition of military forces that could really take on the United States on our home soil because of the Second Amendment, even our own government. So I truly support the whole idea behind privately owned weapons. And if there was a military or any type of armed organization that was going to attack somewhere, you would want to have the higher average of firepower, right? So whether that's Russia attacking Ukraine because the Ukrainian citizens didn't have firearms, so they all ran scared, feared for their life, of course that's going to happen. Their government restricted their ability to defend themselves, unlike America, right? Even though there's some people that would think differently. Russia would have a much harder time, not just pretend we shared a border, so geographical things were kind of excluded. Russia have a much harder problem fighting us because there's more guns privately owned in this country than there are civilian people to pull the triggers on them. And who knows the amount of ammunition stored, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And there's a whole lot of people that enjoy sports, clay shooting, hunting of various amounts, just target shooting, competition shooting. Like there's so much skill out there that isn't revolved around an occupation like military or police or something like that. So it's this kind of same thing. Our schools are like Ukraine. You're purposely creating a spot where you're making the people that are in that spot ultra vulnerable. So it's a freaking honey hole for a predator.
Yeah, like you said, they're putting a target on our children's back at school or the
school. Yep, and anyone that would have the mind to lay down their life for our children, well, they're at least a 15-minute call away.
Yep.
And that's if something like that school shooting in Texas recently, where it took them over an hour to just enter the building. Those kids, can you imagine Like, I was a child in elementary school once. Like, I can't even imagine how I would feel if I knew there was someone in that school that wanted to kill me and I was trapped in that school and all the doors locked and they had free reign just to do whatever they wanted to do, and no one with a gun came in that school to save or help me for over an hour.
Do they even like open the windows in schools anymore? Like, can they get out of a classroom?
I'm sure there's some schools that you can't, some schools that you can. It depends.
I mean, obviously not a second story or shit, but I don't know.
I don't know. I think they all should be, even on the freaking third, fourth story. If you're a kid or you're anybody and you want to jump out of a window, like Darwinism, we're better off without you.
No, it kind of reminds me, I don't know if you were paying attention earlier, but I was scrolling through TikTok, I know. But it was the lady giving a speech to the Senate. I mean, you can tell it was old. It was probably 30 or 40 years old. And they were in a cafeteria or a mall or a shopping center or something. It was her and her two parents. And a friend of hers, she isn't a fan of guns, you know, she isn't a hunter, she doesn't do it for sport, but a friend of hers gave her a gun to protect herself. You know, she was a single older woman, probably in her 30s or so. She was with her parents, and an active shooter came in, and her dad.
While they were doing the interview?
No, not the interview. Telling the story. She's telling the story gotcha. To the Senate or House or whatever.
Okay.
And this was her stance against guns, and you know, she made it clear that she isn't an avid shooter. She didn't grow up in a house with guns. She didn't have any training prior to a friend giving her this gun, but she was taught how to use it. Well, active shooter came in. She flipped up, like her dad.
Please stop shaking the table.
Sorry.
I'll try and put some type of like.
Yeah, it's all good.
Rubber pieces or foam or like absorb the vibration, but I keep seeing my microphone do that. And like while it is in like a spider mount, so it should absorb vibration, I don't want to tempt it. You know what I mean?
That's fine.
All right, sorry. Keep going.
So, active shooter comes in, and dad flips up a table to try to protect him, and they're sitting there.
Go dad.
Yeah. And so her mom and dad are sitting there taking cover, and she, light bulb moment, goes to grab her gun.
So she had one? Because her friend gave her one prior to this active shooter situation.
Right, to protect herself.
And she carried it.
And she carried it in her purse until lawmakers made it illegal for you to conceal carry at that point. The legislators, so she took it out and she put it in her car.
Damn it.
And that's what she said. That exact same, like that situation and everything. Well, her dad, she's like, I don't have my fucking gun. Like, there was nothing she could do. She was stuck.
You're at the mercy of that murderer.
Right. And her dad is like, I can't just sit here and do nothing. I can't just sit here and do nothing. And he rushes the guy. And he gets shot fatally.
I get it. I'd want to do something as well. I mean, my wife and child.
But she makes a point. She makes a point. She said, you know, this guy is insane. You know, he came in here to shoot all of these people. It's not the gun's fault. You know, she's like, I'm not even mad at that guy. He's obviously fucking out of his mind. I am mad at the legislators for taking away the ability for me to protect myself and my family, you know?
Absolutely.
Well, long story short, she sees a window. People are jumping out of it. She tells her mom, we got to run. She rushes, gets out the window, turns around. Mom's not with her. Mom's with dad. The guy makes his way back to mom. She looks up and just puts her head down. They just been married or had their 45th year reunion. She wasn't leaving her husband.
This woman lost both their parents.
Right.
When her and her dad did own guns and only stopped because of the laws.
Well, I don't know about her dad owning it because she said she didn't grow up in a house with guns, but a friend gave it to her. Okay. And she had practiced and, you know, prepared or was trained in how to handle a gun. And because it was illegal, she didn't have it with her that day. And she lost both of her parents.
It's kind of hard to argue with that woman.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a legislator and you literally have armed guards. to protect you.
Exactly.
And your children and your spouse. Like, what a fucking hypocrite. Yeah. Well, they've never been in that situation.
It kind of just rolls in. And I just happened to scroll upon that today, and I watched 3 minutes of it.
I kind of want to look that up and watch it myself.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it. I think I may have liked it. I'm sure.
Okay.
But this was before the 2000s. Like, you could tell just by the clothes and the way
Shaking my mic.
I know. I'm sorry. I just realized it. But probably when gun control became a thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Back to the teachers.
Well, clearly, it's all related, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a mentality thing. Are we safer having more guns? Are we safer having less guns? And I would think you can't have a logical argument when doing that.
All you're going to do is take away the people who are in their right mind that know how to use them to protect themselves and the kids if you try to limit gun control. Because criminals are fucking criminals. They're going to get their hands on a gun whether there's a law or not. They literally break the law all the time. Do you think taking guns away or making laws against them is going to hinder their ability to find one, to get one, to walk around with one? Fuck no.
Yep.
All you're going to do is hurt you and me.
Yep. End of argument. Done. So anyone who's anti-gun or pro-gun control, they have zero fucking legitimate argument. They absolutely are wrong all the time. Because when you make gun laws, all you do is restrict law-abiding citizens. Law-abiding citizens don't go and kill other people. Done. I don't care about whatever speaking point you have, whether gun show loophole or background checks or registration or whatever the fuck you think is a possible solution to so-called gun violence. It's all fucking bullshit, because all you're doing is you're creating laws, and the only people that follow those laws are law-abiding citizens. And the fact that assault a deadly weapon, murder, all those are laws. You don't need gun laws. I actually am an advocate for absolutely zero gun laws. Let's do away with all gun laws. ATF can go and suck my dick. I don't give a shit. Anybody and everybody should have the right. And it actually, from the Second Amendment, is in the Constitution, right? Or amendment to the Constitution, and it says, shall not be infringed. The only amendment to the Constitution that says, shall not be infringed, right? And you can go and you can look up anyone's interpretation of it, and a well-regulated militia, and what it means, and you can have that argument to the end of the time, because we don't really know. Nobody was there whenever they wrote it. But the fact is, gun control or gun laws do absolutely zero to stop human violence with guns. What they do is encourage it. Because if you can restrict the amount of real red-blooded, law-abiding, innocent Americans, you can restrict their ability to protect themselves. You just enhance the ability for criminals to attack them, hurt them, harm them, kill them, right? Because if you're going to go shoot up somebody, you just broke all kinds of fucking laws. Even if you purchase a gun legally and you're of the proper age and you did a background check through the FBI and you went through a proper FFL to buy it. And there's a lot of shooters that do it. That last shooting in Nashville, she, him, it would read about it to understand what I'm talking about. All those guns were acquired legally, right? So your gun laws didn't do shit. Because let's face it, man, murder's illegal. There's nothing legal about shooting kids. And I don't care if you make it a gun-free zone. I don't care if you put, you can only have 10 rounds in your magazine. Yeah, I don't care if you say, it's a bolt action, it's a crack barrel, it's a shotgun. It's whatever limitations you can possibly put on ownership behind firearms. All you're doing is stopping the good, law-abiding, innocent people from protecting themselves. Because if you're a criminal, you're going to get the guns. And if it's not legal to get those type of guns in that region or that state or wherever, you can get them from anywhere else. And there's so many guns out there in America. Even if you banned all gun manufacturing, all gun sales and everything, there's still so many out there. You're never, ever going to get rid of the guns. Buybacks, mandatory turn-ins, whatever you do, there's going to be guns out there, and there's going to be people that want to kill people, and they're going to get their hands on them. They're going to use them to murder people that are unarmed. So if you really care about stopping violence, you should make soft targets hard targets, or unknown targets at a minimum. Because right now, if you go into a school with a firearm, you guarantee know that every other living soul in there is not going to shoot back at you. But if you at least put the question in their mind, because those criminals are fucking cowards, that maybe there might be 2-3 handful of people that will shoot back at me, I'm not going to that school. That's regardless of whether you have metal detectors or how many locked doors or you need a key code or a card, or regardless of the infrastructure of that facility, the fact that you don't know if you'll be the only one with a gun or not was going to stop those cowards from doing it. And all gun laws limit the personal ability to defense of law-abiding citizens, has no effect on criminals. Yeah. That's just it. And you can talk about any theory or emotion about how guns make you feel and what you think about them and the people who own them and how they vote and all that bullshit. But the point is, criminals do bad shit. So you should at least not limit the ability of people who actually follow laws to protect them and their loved ones. And that includes our children in our schools, having resource officers that are armed and allowing teachers to be armed with the proper training. And that's all I got to say about that. Boom.
Yeah. I mean, you summed it up very nicely, babe.
Thank you. And now it's raining. Can you hear that?
I did, yeah.
Because we are super rich and successful and high class fancy. So that rain bounces off of my badass window unit right there. Because whether you realize it or not, this is pallet wood with some corrugated metal. We don't have basements where we live.
Yeah.
But this is our first floor of our house that I rebuilt after a flood and put this material in there because it's basically just my man cave.
Repurposed. All right. You repurposed it.
Yeah. However you want to say it. So yeah, I got a window unit because our central air and heat isn't ducted down here.
Correct.
But anywho, actually, and I don't hear it anymore. So hopefully there's just one shitty cloud that passed by. So, you got anything else to say about arming teachers? I think I made my point clear.
Yeah. I mean, I do have something to add, but that's a whole nother day and a whole nother topic.
Okay. Can you give us a hint to it?
Yeah. The people who are, writing those laws and wanting to enforce gun control and take them away, they aren't doing it to protect the children.
Yeah, I agree. Regardless of what they say.
Yeah. It's...
They're not being genuine, for sure. Yeah. I would love to shit talk them fools with you.
Another time, another day.
I agree. On to the bonus round. Bonus topic. And
Did any of you happen to read?
I don't know if they can read. That's pretty small print coming from where that camera's at. You know what I mean? And I don't know if anyone noticed, but I am totally sporting one of my new JDP, Just Drinking Problems shirt. What do you think? Look good?
I think it looks great.
Yeah? Flexible. Yeah. Okay, I'm not doing that.
You didn't supply me with one, so I felt a little left out.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. I'm totally going to...
How many did you buy yourself, though?
3?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, you didn't say you wanted one.
I'm literally your co-host. How are you going to get you 3 shirts and me a 0?
You know what? I think I'm actually going to get you one, and I'm going to get you, I'll get you a regular t-shirt and a tank top, maybe a long sleeve like that one, maybe a sports bra. I'll pimp you out,
got a lot of making up to do. It's okay.
Cool. So, back to the bonus topic. We are going with OnlyFans statistics from 2023. So this is February 8th, 2023. World's most entrepreneurial, how do you say that?
Entrepreneurial.
Exactly what I said. Site. So this says we found exciting facts on OnlyFans statistics. How many people use it? How much money its content creators make, and who are the top earners, and more. So 98% of all content on OnlyFans is adult content. I would have said 100, but like damn close, right?
Yeah.
I think the idea, I heard this from somewhere, I don't even remember where, but the idea was that when it was originally created, it was created for like all kinds of creators, whether you're an artist or like you sing, you play an instrument, or you have some kind of, you're a stand-up comedian or whatever. You just produce something that you can record on video and put it on the site, and then fans of your work can pay money. But clearly, the one of the biggest motivators of our human behavior is sexual
adult entertainment.
Yeah. So 98% of all content on OnlyFans is adult content. So it's basically a porn site. It's just kind of disguised. But I think the word's out, right? So let's go down here to, here are some highlights from our research, because we're not going to read the whole article to you. But here's some bullet points. So over 300 OnlyFans content creators earn $1 million per year or more.
It's time to get an OnlyFans, babe.
Dude, seriously, I really need to do some research. Like,
well,
what
300 out of how many?
Yeah, I
mean, I'll take feet pics. You know, you can throw that out there.
Absolutely, I'll even paint your toenails and put faces on them. They look like ladybugs. Babe. Yeah, I mean, maybe there's like ladybug painted toenail fetish out there.
Yeah,
I don't know. Clearly, we need to do some research. We need to make some investments with our time. So. Probably a lot better than this shitty podcast.
If this doesn't go so well, we have a plan B.
OnlyFans. So, all right. Since its inception in 2016, OnlyFans has paid out.
Sorry.
Inception? Mm-hmm. I don't. Is that the one with what's his face?
Leonardo DiCaprio from Titanic.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually watched it, but I heard about it.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So since its inception in 2016, OnlyFans has paid over $3.2 billion to its content creators. That's a fuckload of money. So 98% of its content, adult related, we read that. Nearly half of all OnlyFans users, 45%, are Americans. So almost half of them are horny ass Americans creating content for other horny ass Americans. Almost half, 47%, of OnlyFans creators have a second job at an office or another physical location. So we're talking about people at UPS during the daytime, like moonlight as adult content creators.
Yeah.
America. All right, 6 out of the 10 highest paid OnlyFans stars are women of color.
Yeah, they don't discriminate.
Why does that fucking matter though? I guess that's not
another topic, another day.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so what do you think about it? Like, does that give you any initial idea to your head, or a judgment, or emotional response, or what do you just think about that?
We should have got into OnlyFans a long time ago. I mean,
clearly, absolutely.
Obviously, there's where a lot of money is.
Yeah. So, I guess the biggest thing, I think, when people consider OnlyFans and putting adult content on the internet for money, right? It's completely legal, right? It's not like you're doing illegal prostitution or something. You don't really have physical contact with these people who are giving you money, so it kind of puts like
stigmatism.
Yeah, of course there's a stigmatism there, but is it a rightful stigma? Is it a rightful stigmatism? Should there be shame? What do you think?
I mean, no, I don't think there should be shame. If you're willing to do it and you can make a living off of it, you're doing it in the privacy of your own home. You're not subjecting other people to it. You know, you're not out on the street like flash it for money and then like kids see it. No, people are paying you for your content that you make and you post because you like it, you want to do it. Like, nobody's forcing you to do it.
Freedom, basically. What you're saying.
Why would I care what you do on your own time in your own home with whoever is willing to pay you to do it? Now, if you're paying anybody on OnlyFans, we gonna have a problem.
Me personally?
It's a joke, babe.
Oh, okay.
I know better.
I don't know if you looked at my credit cards. Anyway, no, I've never done it. I've never gone on OnlyFans, but obviously, I have heard about it, and it's very interesting. And I don't think anyone would pay me a penny to do anything on OnlyFans because, let's face it, most of them are women, right?
Hey, some people have like a hair fetish or beards or light hairy men,
Light hairy men?
Light?
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, if anyone actually does watch this and you have a fetish for hairy men that look exactly like me, please let me know in the comments because I will definitely message you. Anyway, so I agree. I don't think there should be any shame in it. Like, make your money. Yeah. Whether you go to college and get a degree and have a lifelong career and become wealthy, like, more power to you. And if you don't and you do this instead, or you do both to work your way through college, because let's face it, I imagine that most people that are making this $1 million per year or more are probably not old ladies and definitely not men. Because let's face it, I don't know. I don't know who these people are. And I don't know who these people are that are paying them. I don't even know there's a way to find that out. But I'm gonna seriously bet the fact that there are women making a lot of money on this because women are sexy. Men are not sexy. We smell weird.
6 out of 10 of the highest paid OnlyFans are women.
Yeah, of color. Which,
well,
where the white chicks at? Like, is OnlyFans racist? Should we be wearing awareness to this racist content? I'm kidding. Yeah, so I think it's understood that there's a lot of naked women on here doing some things to themselves, and a lot of lonely men that are unsatisfied in their public lives are paying for this. So should there, if you're saying there's no shame that should be given to the content creators, what about the content consumers? You see
I mean, creators don't force consumers to consume their stuff. That's on them.
So you're not throwing shame at anybody that's doing anything legal and in their own free will. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
So you're pretty open-minded.
I would say so. At least I feel so.
Okay. Yeah, well, it definitely seems that way, and I would agree. And I actually feel the same way. So if you don't want to consume or create any adult content on an open online forum such as this, then don't. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, do you, whether you have like personal respect, religion, or moral or ethical objections to this type of thing, then that's great. Do you. But the people who do involve themselves with this, whether they're creators or consumers, like, I'm all about freedom. Like, if I had to boil my mentality down, I would say personal freedom. And this seems fucking awesome.
And, of course you would say that.
Oh, well, think about it. There's some super fine chick out there that has taken ass and titty pictures, and there's just thousands of dudes that are like, yeah, that ass is worth $5. Absolutely. Clearly, it's successful. 3.2 billion since 2016. I know 2016 seems like forever ago, but at the same time, it's not that long ago.
Mm-hmm. I imagine the majority of that is post-COVID or after COVID because everybody's at home.
Yeah, from the start till now. Yeah, I would think so. So it brings up...
I mean, I just kind of like, you do you, boo. If that's what makes you happy, if that's what pays the bills, puts a roof over your head, feeds the kids, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and clearly it's on the internet, so it's global. But about half of them are Americans.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess you can consider about half of that 3.2
Goes back
billion.
To free the nipple, if no one made such a huge deal about it.
Yeah, from our last episode.
Sorry, yeah, reference. But if no one if people didn't make such a huge deal about it and forced everybody to cover up and they didn't sexualize everything, it wouldn't be that big of an issue. But it's been made that
just
way.
the female nipple in general, right?
Right.
And sexualize it. Well, here they're purposely sexualizing it.
I know,
and
but
selling it.
I feel like if it was just a nipple, you know, like babies eat off of it, all women have them, all men have them, every human being for the most part, unless they have some kind of genetic thing that I don't know about.
Or breast cancer, because they cut them out, right?
Yeah, they have a nipple.
Actually, I met a woman one time that had breast cancer, and
they put like fake ones.
Yeah, she had them tattooed.
Yeah. So for the most part, the majority of humans and mammals, animals, whatever, have nipples, right?
Yeah. Can you imagine if we had udders?
Can I finish?
Yeah, go ahead. I was just thinking.
I feel like if, going back to free the nipple, if every woman, person, whatever, wasn't forced to cover them up and hide them and made such a big deal, like, oh my gosh, she showed her nipple, probably wouldn't have as many consumers. It may not be as successful.
I agree. So,
like,
this is such a success because you pretty much have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Because it's just not normal to see or be exposed to that much nudity.
Right.
And of course, there's a sexual thing too. I'm sure they're not just taking nudie pics. Like they're
doing other things
with
obviously.
Toys and positions, and but we should probably just
check it out.
Yeah. Just for science.
Research.
Absolutely. Because we can't just be spitting out shit we never ever even looked into. We're uneducated in this subject. Mm-hmm. It's a requirement. It's a duty for the show.
We'll get back to you guys on that.
We're definitely going to find out. I'm definitely going to Google, no lie, who's 300 OnlyFans content creator, over 1 million per year. I definitely want to know who a few of them are.
Scroll down. It might be there.
All right. Let's see. 4% of American adults are planning to become an OnlyFans content creator. How the fuck do they know that? How do they know? How do they put a number? Is there some kind of poll to every American and 4% of them said, yeah?
130 million users and 2 million content creators.
All right, so it's kind of saturated. I don't think they're going to go for my hairy nipples. Anyway, let's see. A lot of information. Who is using OnlyFans?
By age group.
Wow. Okay. I see blue and purple. I'm assuming. So.
Wait, right here. Subscribers, content creators.
Okay, so content creators, 47% of them are between the ages of 18 and 24. Of course, because...
Hey, if any of you are over 55, the time to get in is now.
Yeah, only 3% of content creators are over 55. And I gotta say, I would take a peek. If you're over 55, but your ass be looking great, I'm gonna take a peek. Because I don't care what your age is, that's just a number. You got a nice ass, that's a nice ass. And probably if you're 55, you know some shit that these 18-year-olds don't know. And that's sexy. That's skill. That's experience. Anyway, so 25 to 34 years of age, that's 33% of content creators. So they're basically 35 and under for the vast majority of content creators. And we already know that women from 35 to 18 are a majority of content creators, and half of those are Americans. So that's interesting.
There you go, by gender. Male, 87%.
Wow, but there's 10%. Are those all lesbians?
What?
But these aren't the creators, right? Because the purple are subscribers. So by subscribers by gender, 87% of subscribers are male, but 10% are female. And had no specific...
Well, stop. It doesn't give you a legend for you to understand those. So this is comparison. There's no comparison here.
Right. So as far as the colors go and how to understand this graph, but over here,
So I think it's just users maybe by gender, male, female.
subscribers, users, same shit.
Yeah.
80, it was majority male. Like, we can already assume that dudes consume a lot more pornographic type material than women.
Yeah.
But we also can pretty much assume, without having some type of factual database telling us, that the majority of content creators are young women, right? So being that there's 10% female consumers, do you think that they're lesbians?
It doesn't tell you if they're consumers or creators.
Clearly, I'm looking at what you're looking at. I'm asking you, do you think 10% of the 10% are female consumers? Do you think they're lesbians? And clearly, I would assume that the amount of...
Maybe they're bi, maybe they... I don't know. No, I don't...
Okay, you clearly have no input on this. Okay.
Well, no, because I'm reading it as... There's 130 million users, 2 million content, or 130 million users, 2 million content creators.
Yeah.
Right? Scroll down.
Yeah.
So 130 over 2 is just separating it. So we don't know how many, like, that could be literally just the content creators.
Absolutely fucking not. Hell,
I know there are men out there that are doing it. But
sure, I'm sure...
That's
absolutely sure that there are men content creators on OnlyFans, but not 87% of content creators are male.
That is, I'm not saying, I'm saying over...
This is consumers, babe. This graph right here is talking about consumers.
Where does it say consumers?
It doesn't. But just common sense tells you what it's representing.
It literally says creators and subscribers. It says both. So that's overall.
All right,
who's using it?
I'm just disregarding this if we can agree on it.
Okay.
But clearly,
I was just knowing how I interpret it. That's all.
And I'm telling you, this graph was created to talk about consumers, not creators. It's porn, babe. It's literally freaking porn. It's homemade porn. And there's not this massive amount of male creators. It's a massive amount of male consumers.
No shit, Sherlock. That's exactly...
Then what do you argue with me about?
This
graph is looking at the consumers.
Okay, let's just drop that. Let's just drop it.
All right, I don't want to, because...
I literally said it's not just consumers, it's both.
Negative.
Okay, well, that's great that you think that. I'm just saying what I interpreted, because...
All I wanted to ask is if you think that percentage of female were lesbians.
No, how about that?
You think there's a bunch of...
No.
There's a significant number of straight females that are watching OnlyFans content.
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
Like you said, women aren't the only one who are creators.
I'm talking about...
You're talking about users. Consumers, right. So maybe that's why only 10% are consumers, because there's not a whole lot of men out there. Anyway.
Yeah. You ruined that for me.
That was the point.
Really? Is that intentional?
No.
How often do users visit OnlyFans and what do they like? Here's what one study found about the percentage of OnlyFans subscribers that view adult content online at various frequencies. Daily to weekly, 62%. Monthly to several times per year, 18%. Rarely 20%.
So men, women, undetermined.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with gender. That's just frequency. That's stupid. I don't care about the graph. The most popular types of adult content on OnlyFans are nudes, role-playing, BDSM, couples sharing their private sexual moments, couples inviting another man to have sex with the wife, aka hot wife lifestyle, a man called a bull visits couples and records his moments having sex with a hot wife, lesbian and gay porn, female, female, male, 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 female, 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 or any other okay. So if there's a sexual fetish fantasy out there, there's a lot of content created to support that. Clearly, OnlyFans is a porn site, and to think of it as anything else is ridiculous. Holy shit. Most popular OnlyFans content creator as of June 2022. These are the top 10 OnlyFans creators ranked by number of likes. 7.6 million. Bryce Adams. Is Bryce Adams
I have no idea.
a male or
None.
female? All right.
I feel like that's a male. I have a cousin named Bryce.
Yeah, Bryce. I've met Bryce. I met Bryce that were dudes. I never met a female Bryce. So Bryce Adams on Google. Who is? Oh, I see girls. All right, look at images. That's so a chick. That's a young, definitely that 18 to 24 looking female.
OnlyFans content creator who made.
Let's click that. Yahoo. That is Yahoo Sports. Really? Yahoo Sports says about Bryce Adams, content creator who made $5 million invest in rival platform. Wait, what? All right, whatever. Yeah, I could see her making a lot of money, but she's dirty. Made over $5 million from the site. Has decided to jump ship and invest her earnings in rival platform. Well, I hope that works out for you.
After tentatively creating an account with her boyfriend.
So this is what's selling on OnlyFans. The number one most.
She ain't even got any teddies.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, she cute, but.
And she can definitely afford them. You can buy them things.
Yeah, she made $4 million.
$5 million.
Oh, okay.
That's 4.2 in pounds. Europe. Okay. Nobody cares about Europe.
But over how long?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure we could read it, but whatever.
Anyway.
Basically, the top earner. This is the top earner on OnlyFans. Exactly what I was expecting, actually. I mean, well, minus what you pointed out. I wouldn't imagine that the B cups or A pluses were making that much money. But, you know, that must mean she's skilled in whatever she's selling. Further research.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Okay.
So OnlyFans, right? It's a thing. There's a lot of money being made. There's millions of people that visit the site and create content. I mean, number 2, OMG Cosplay. 6.65 million. That's a lot.
Well, yeah, if you can wear a mask the whole time.
I mean, cosplayers don't always just wear masks. They do all corner makeup and everything. And Jenny Potter, Jessica Nigri, Peyton. Peyton sounds like a guy named too, but
it can go both ways. I would imagine Peyton Kinsley is a girl.
Yeah, me too. And then I can't even say that one. Lillian Hartis. Yeah, 3 S's. Natalie Monroe, Peach Jars. That's clever. Suicide Girls and Shea Baby. I'm not going to Google all these, but would you just agree with me? But most likely, these are all young females.
Yeah.
So that's what I was getting back to earlier. Yeah, it's mainly young females that are producing content that make the most money from vastly majority male consumers. It's just a porn site with a low barrier to entry for at-home made porn content.
Yeah.
We're not throwing any shame in the game. And that's what we know about OnlyFans. Right. Anything else to put on it?
Nope.
You want to call it an episode?
I like it.
Okay. Make sure you... By the way, this is a rebelshirts.com t-shirt. Made us the Just Drinking Problems. There's other ones on there.
Are you going to like show it?
I'm throwing my chest out there.
You got to like poke them out a little bit more. There you go. Now turn towards the camera. Practicing for OnlyFans, babe. That's much better. All right.
Get this t-shirt. And make you...
Get it at rebelshirts.com.
Okay, that was...
Anyway.
Yep. You think I can make any money on OnlyFans?
Probably, yeah. Like I said, girls like hair. You know, I like a little scrub.
Yeah?
A little hairy man.
I got some hair and hairy chest and hairy other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you really...
You like baby Chewbacca.
Yeah, do you think... Are you into hairy dudes?
I like hair. I don't want you to look like a 12-year-old without, like...
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's a good question. So, men that are less hairy, are they off-putting? Because, like, children don't grow hair. They're like... prior puberty, right? It's like a manly thing to have excessive body hair. So do you think most women prefer men that are or have manly features like body hair?
Whatever floats your boat. Like, no, I mean, like, we could probably talk about that for another hour.
All right, just like real quick, let's clean it up.
I like
if I got all my hair waxed or lasered or shaved off, would you prefer that, or would you prefer just all natural?
Waxed? No, because it grows back and it's pointy and pokey, so no.
With or without hair? Me.
I would want you to have some goddamn hair, okay?
Okay, good. Now, do you think most women would agree with you that their man are the type of men they're interested in?
I don't think like most women, at least I feel that way.
Really?
Like nobody, I feel like.
Great. So not most women wouldn't be attracted to me is what you're saying.
I mean, just sum that up for you. You're turning my words around, babe. Not what I meant.
Okay, well.
Now help me out here, okay?
If there's a woman that watches this show and would like to participate in that question, me with hair, and you can imagine the rest of this, or without, which would be better? I would like to know. I don't think I would ever go through any process of removing all my body hair, though. Like, shaving's not that hard, but it'd be like...
Oh, yeah, I mean, like...
a lengthy process to shave all this. And not that I look like Chewbacca.
Yeah, imagine what we do.
Yeah, I definitely prefer less hair on women.
Obviously.
Like, pretty much remove all the hair except for on top of their head. I want that to be long. I like long hair on women. But I don't like hair anywhere else. Like, sure, some people are into the hairy pits.
I mean, I don't shave my arms or nothing.
But I also can't see it from here. If you had... like, you can see my hair. Mm-hmm. Right? If you had my type of arm hair, I would never get a boner ever again. I'd be disgusted. I don't know if I could eat.
Okay, you're just getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
Speaking of eating, I still haven't eaten dinner. I'm hungry.
All right, we're wrapping it up. Thanks for watching, if you made it this long, the second episode of Just Drinking Problems. And remember to like, comment, subscribe, all the shit. And we'll see you next episode.
Check out our OnlyFans, Just Drinking Problems.
We don't have an OnlyFans.
I know, it was a joke.
But now I might start one.
You can show all of your hair.
Yeah. Hairy twerking coming to you soon at OnlyFans. Just Drinking Problems. All right. See ya. Am I going to say bye? Yeah, tell them bye.
Bye.
There we go.